Hello and welcome to Official Xbox 360 Magazine's OXM report. This week we talked to the man behind one of your and our most anticipated games of 2011, Elder Scrolls V Skyrim. Cool, so I'm here with Todd Howard, who's the game director on Elder Scrolls V Skyrim. So tell me about the area of Skyrim, how it compares to Cyrodiil that people know from Oblivion.
In terms of size, first of all, it's about the same size. It's different in that it's very mountainous, so the way we use the geography is a lot different. So it creates a different scale, even though it's roughly the same size. But it is the northernmost province in Tamriel, and it's very rugged. One of the reasons we really wanted to do Skyrim was it has this kind of rugged, ancient, despite it being fantasy, lower tech feel to it. It's more brutal. And coming off of Oblivion, which feels, Oblivion feels more King Arthur, almost like Renaissance fair, and this is more Conan. And we could get into, the landscape itself lends itself to lots of different types of areas, not just all snowy mountain peaks, more Scandinavian, where there are these tundras, pine forests and fall forests, and we have a volcanic tundra. This area called the Reach, which is really craggy, and then to the northern part of Skyrim, we have these ice glaciers. So even though it is all in one province, we're trying to mix up the types of landscape you're going to see much more than we did in Oblivion.
And this area is mainly inhabited by the Nords, who featured in Oblivion and the other
Right.
Elder Scrolls game. Tell me about what they're all about.
So they're kind of the first humans in Tamriel. They are, like the landscape, a rugged people. And so most of the people in Skyrim are Nords. But just like in our previous games where you see that there's a dominant race for that province, whether it's Morn with Dark Elves, all of the races are there in some fashion.
So in terms of the combat, you've kind of overhauled the melee combat system. Tell me about what you've changed.
So the main parts of it are that you can put whatever you want in your hands, whether that's magic or weapons and melee. So the magic and the melee do kind of go together now. And so, basic melee, you can put a shield in your left hand, a sword in your right hand, and then the triggers or the mouse works that, and we try to make it very tactile. Whereas, if you hold this one, then press this one, it's going to do this move. So you can actually bash with the shield by pulling it up and then pressing the right trigger. You can do power moves by holding them down. We do kind of look at the direction you're moving as well a little bit. It's very easy to play, but the end result, you feel a lot more in control of your character.
And you're using the Radiant story system to add more nuances to the quests. Is that right?
Right, so we have this new piece of tech called Radiant Story that, like the Radiant AI, kind of uses the same paradigm in terms of taking a quest or any activity and saying, well, we want this to be a specific activity, or we're going to let the game choose. And so it's a really, really powerful tool that honestly we're still figuring out how to use. There are some really nice ways that we can use it where you go to town, you run into a character, and the Radiant story system can say, oh, I have a quest template that would fit this character and your character. I'm gonna give you a quest right now. It's a tiny one. The bigger story-based ones, the factions, the main quest, we're still writing by hand, but we're using Radiant story, the Radiant story system, even to make those quests, even when all the roles and the things are very, very specific. It's how we make quests now.
One of the things you've solved is the old crap zoom into a character's face when they start talking to you.
Solved as in took it out.
Yes.
Yeah, solved.
Tell me what's there instead.
Well, now we wanted to treat dialogue not as another mode. So before we would always treat it as, well, this is a mode you're in, talking to somebody. But we want it to be sort of just smooth in the same way fighting a guy isn't another mode. It's just something you're doing, the buttons are doing at the time. So now the game doesn't stop, it's all real time. You press a button on a guy, and it's like a trim thing comes up where the topics you can ask come out on the edge of the screen, and you can select them with the thing. You can press the button and just continue on. You can actually, it's almost like displaying the menu and closing the menu. And what we've actually found is a guy will be giving you a quest. And traditionally you'd click them and you're listening to the quest, and you jam the button to like listen to it all and get the quest. Well, now he starts talking and you just press B to close it. He just keeps talking, and then you just walk away and you're like, yeah, I got it, and you just wander off. And you can kind of back up and talk to someone else, and he might stop. If you get far enough away, he just says, okay, I get it. But you can re-engage him right away without ever breaking the flow of that. Even allows us to have, sometimes we can have conversations with multiple people. So we just kind of viewed it as not a whole nother mode, just like a trim thing. Like, okay, how do you respond to somebody, as opposed to entering a mode where there's a back and forth.